What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, it's your homie Futuristic Mike, and I'm back with another Lovecraft Country video if you're new. Now this is going to be the recap and review for Lovecraft Country Season 1, Episode 4. It's called A History of Violence. If you're a fan of Lovecraft Country, if you love Lovecraft Country, hit the like on this video. If you're new to my channel and this is the first time you're finding me, subscribe and turn on those post notifications so when I post videos on Lovecraft Country, you get them. Yo, this episode right here was crazy. It really was, man. It kept me on the edge of my seat. It had my heart racing at certain moments in this episode. This episode was truly amazing. I think this is my favorite episode so far. You know, they just keep getting better and better. And I've said this to you guys before. I said that each episode kind of feels like its own little story. It feels like its own little episode. And also each episode feels like a season finale. Like, this show is honestly so good and it just keeps getting better and better. You know, I'm not disappointed with this at all, not one bit. The puzzle pieces are finally starting to come together in this week's episode of Lovecraft Country. In this episode, we saw Atticus and Letty heading back to Massachusetts with Montrose. We see Christina Braithwaite relocating to Chicago as she tries to stake her claim in the upper ranks of the Order of the Ancient Dawn, and Hippolyta looking to get some clarity on George's death. This episode was seriously a much-needed episode. I can appreciate everything they're doing in the series so far. You know, each thing that they're doing, it might not make sense at first, but it definitely all comes together. You know, everything's falling into place. Lovecraft Country continues to shape its bigger story and the pieces fall right into place. This episode feels like a self-contained story as it feels connected to the previous three, with roots laid down for a mysterious next chapter. You know, I get the sense that Lovecraft Country is a show more concerned with its thematic explorations than developments on the ground level. This may irritate some viewers looking for a more traditional narrative, but for me, you know, I'm on board to let the show continue to do whatever it wants because of its consistent cleverness and attention to detail. The detail is so great in this show. Like, I can't even tell y'all how great the detail is. Everything about it, man. I just love this show so much. Now, Atticus, Letty, and Montrose travel back east and through time to get the answers they seek about missing pages from the fabled Book of Names. Now, this episode was a fun one, seriously, because pretty much the group's mission was to go to a museum seeking out a secret vault and encounter an otherworldly hostage of Titus Braithwaite. Now, in this episode, their trust is tested a lot, especially between Atticus and Montrose. Montrose is hiding some things. It's clear as day that he's hiding things from Atticus and Letty, and Atticus knows this, so he feels like he can't really trust Montrose too much. Now, since they have to locate the missing pages from the Book of Names, Atticus and Letty are kind of lucky because Montrose likely knows where those pages are because he has already spent so much time digging around for information in his research on his late wife's family. However, it's also unlucky for Atticus and Letty because Montrose is a hazard to himself and others, an aggressive and haunted man whose wild card status makes him an uneasy ally. He is not easy to get along with at all, and we definitely see this in this episode. You know, he's always arguing with Atticus. He can never just shut up and get a simple task done. There always has to be some disagreements. But I really do appreciate Montrose though, because he knows certain things. Like when he reveals there are 34 more Order of the Ancient Dawn lodges, and this hints at just how big this story could potentially become as Atticus and Letty work to take on the Order. Now, the search for the missing pages takes them to Boston, which proves to be a revealing trip in more than a few ways. Now, Hippolyta and her daughter go off by themselves. Atticus, Letty, and Montrose end up finding the vault, which would lead them to the hidden Book of Names pages, but it requires a nighttime mission into the museum. Their time underground provides time for some necessary character development. You know, this episode really had some great character development. Atticus and Montrose have been locked in a Cold War until now. Atticus and Montrose end up having a little moment because Montrose tells Atticus the importance of having a song to play for your sweetheart whenever trouble's coming. Meanwhile, Atticus and Letty have some awkwardness between them after hooking up, which, after going through hell and high water in this episode's climactic episode, it results in a passionate kiss and confirmation these two are making it official in their own way. We all knew that Atticus and Letty were going to end up getting together, and now we see that it's official. Letty has been flirting with Atticus since the very beginning. The very first time she saw him, she couldn't believe it was him from back in the day because she's known him since she was a kid. It seemed like she was flirting with him since the very beginning. So we seen this coming. Now this episode comes to its climactic sequence when, after walking through miles of vault tunnels, the three of them end up entering a secret chamber revealed to be Titus's ship used to make his final voyage to Guyana in South America. I think that's what it was. There's a whole bunch of mummified remains of men and women that sit around a banquet table, and there's this one body that sits at this large desk. They end up finding the pages, but the body that's keeping guard reanimates into a two-spirit person. Her name is Yahima. Yahima shares that Titus tricked them into translating pages from the Book of Names before cursing them to the confines of the ship. Now they have to translate the pages from the Book of Names, and Atticus could understand everything Yahima was saying because she was speaking in some weird language, but Atticus could read her for some reason because we all know that Atticus, his bloodline is in this Braithwaite's family, so Atticus has special gifts. At the end of episode 3, if you guys remember, Christina Braithwaite had survived the lodge collapse in one piece. So she ended up getting out of that house alive. We thought the Braithwaites were dead, but now she's come to Chicago to make sure her sole living relative, Atticus, stays close just in case she needs him. It turns out she just might because it seems Christina is on a mission to get to the top of the Order of the Ancient Dawn food chain. Christina is laying the groundwork of whatever plan she's cooking up as she takes the focus of the third big arc in episode 4. She makes a house call to Letty on the north side. Letty seems to be much more settled than when we last saw her because we all know what happened in episode 3. She was shaken up about the spirits and everything in her house. And Letty is no doubt feeling more secure after having that priest come and get rid of the spirits. Christina Braithwaite is on the hunt for something that Hiram Epstein left behind, but Hippolyta ended up taking it. It was a display of the solar system or something like that. I guess she's on the hunt for that. Later in the episode, Christina is picked up from her new residence by 2 uniforms and escorted to Captain Lancaster's office. I guess the cops are connected to the Order through Lancaster, and he's not too fond of an outsider. He's not too happy that Christina rode into town without warning. The thing that Hippolyta ended up taking apparently unlocks a time machine Hiram built, and that machine belongs to Lancaster's lodge. Now, why in the hell would Christina want to turn back time? Why does she need a time machine? Now, Hippolyta's grief over George's death has now transformed her into a woman hell-bent on getting answers. After getting nothing from the 2 men she should trust, Montrose and Atticus, she is now on her own fact-finding mission. She wants facts. She needs to find out everything she can on what happened to her husband because she knows that she's getting lied to. And she also found it weird how the 3 of them went off by themselves in the museum, and then they ended up getting back to Chicago through that tunnel underground because it led to Letty's house. It led to that elevator. They ended up finding the dead bodies of Letty's neighbors down there. They were skeletons and stuff like that. So that tunnel led to Letty's house, which was crazy because they went all the way to Massachusetts in a museum. So how the hell did that lead all the way to Letty's house? I don't know. Now, what we should all be worried about is Hippolyta and Dee's decision to go to Ardham. We all know what happened in Ardham in episode 2, and now Hippolyta and Dee are on their way there. So it's gonna get crazy, man. We all know what happened. There's monsters and everything out there, so they're in for a ride, and I can't wait to see what happens next with them going to Ardham. I can't wait to see what happens next in the next episode 2 with Atticus and Letty. This show just keeps getting better and better. Seriously, I really enjoyed this episode. This was a great episode. I know some people got to watch this episode early, as well as 4 other episodes, because some people got, the first 5 episodes for free as soon as the show dropped. The people that have access to screeners got the first 5 episodes, so they already know what's going to be happening. They'll be on the same page as us as soon as episode 5 goes off, because then they have to wait for episode 6, just like everybody else. But this was a great episode, and I cannot wait for episode 5. I know that one's gonna be good too. Keep supporting your boy, and I'll be continuing to bring y'all Lovecraft Country videos in the future. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and smash that notification bell so you can never miss a video. Let me get out of here, y'all. It's your boy Futuristic Mike, and I'll talk to you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.